What's up, everybody? Welcome back.
pdExes.
Another week.
We're still doing
We're
it.
still doing it. This is episode 10, which is kind of crazy because now instead of doing 00 something, I only have to put in 10.
Oh.
Although I am going to have to put in another 0.
I have no idea what that's like because I don't help at all. All I do is show up and talk.
That's all I need. I am a control freak.
Excellent.
So, yeah.
As am I. I think that's why I like you to have control, because if I had control, the podcast would still be on the cutting room floor.
It's fun, though. I've been editing videos and doing graphic design stuff for like 20 years. So it's all good. I'm just really fast and I like editing stuff. I like telling stories. And I think that all kind of falls into the same things. Like I said before, I do all my own videos for City of Pyramids, my music project. And, you know, some videos I spend 6 months. I spent 2 years animating a video. It's a lot of work, but
It's a lot of work because you do everything on a drawing tablet and through your programs and everything's done by hand. And it's a lot of work. It is a tremendous amount of work.
please go check that out.
Please.
I'm tired of podcasting. I just want to move over to music.
Fucking hate it here. Join Alexa next week for her own podcast where she does this fucking shit by herself, sitting in my living room talking into my iPhone because we are at Ryan's house.
Yeah. No, it's been really fun, and I do like all the podcast stuff. It's nice because when we started off, like, you know, I still really don't know what I'm doing, but like, I don't know.
Now you don't know what you're doing with purpose.
Yeah, with style.
Yes.
But yeah, it always seems like a lot, and I encouragement to anybody thinking about starting a podcast, like just do it. Like, there's a TikTok or like this motivational person was just like, you don't want to start something because you think you're going to be bad at it, and you know, and it's just like just do it. And
there's a learning curve.
Yeah.
There is a learning curve, as there is with everything. But you know, I think everyone has this idea, and you kind of touched on this the last couple episodes, just having, you know, post the thing, do the thing,
just do
because in your head, I think we have this image of wanting things to be perfect.
Right.
Who has ever tried something, aside from probably, you know, Tiger Woods when he was a baby, who has ever tried something that they've been just a master of immediately, right? So there's a process. And this one thing when it comes to like social media and things like that was, I saw a TikTok of this kid and he had said that if he could go back and talk to his like earlier account, like, you know, him right when he started off, he said it was 95-5.
Right.
He's like 95% of the things that you do won't necessarily matter until you go viral. And that's that extra 5%.
Right.
So that's the 95-5. So one stupid video. I mean, kind of look at Doja Cat, for example. One, love her.
We love Doja Cat.
Please subscribe, Doja.
Yeah.
I would leave this fucking universe if she magically listened to pdExes. Oh my God. Or what if she said like fucking rappy rap sweet fluff?
Oh yeah.
I would fucking die. Oh, also, we do Doja Cat. We do
also
stand
like
with you.
Taco
We do.
Bell.
Yes.
And we very much appreciate all your hard work.
And we also love
back
cats.
Mexican pizza.
Ew, that Mexican pizza.
Oh, it's so fucking good. You know, I don't like how Taco Bell like took that shit away. And even though everyone was like, please don't, they're like, we're taking it away. And then they're like, hey, guess what? We're bringing that thing back that you like. We're bringing it back now. It's like, fuck you. We wanted it the whole time.
Right.
That's like when McDonald's started doing breakfast and they're like, hey, it's breakfast. Haven't you wanted breakfast all day? We were like, yeah, you've literally told me to eat shit when I came in at like 9:59 and you're like, sorry, fucker, we don't have breakfast anymore.
Correct.
And how many times does that happen to people?
I mean, Big Daddy, he couldn't get a Happy Meal because it was breakfast time.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, give the kid a fucking Happy Meal.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was just so irritated when they were like, yeah, don't you want a muffin all day? It's like, yes, we've literally been asking for that.
McDonald's
forever.
honestly could just be chicken nuggets and breakfast.
That's true. Well, I don't even know who orders like the really nice sandwiches. Like my friend Dave would always get there like, oh, can I get the McClassic chicken? And I'm like, dude, dollar menu. Who is getting non-dollar menu? Unless you're getting a Big Mac quarter pounder or dollar menu shit, filet of fish. Who's getting their like McClassic or Mc whatever fancy pants sandwich? Fuck that. That's not why I'm going to
McDonald's. I think a lot of it has to do with Uber.
Yeah.
And the Uber Eats, and especially in Portland where people are just stoned out of their fucking minds.
That's
and you're
true.
sitting at home and you're like, ooh, I'm getting that number 8. I'm getting that McClassic.
Everything is more expensive on Uber Eats.
Oh, of course. So working in a restaurant, Uber, Grubhub, DoorDash, all of that stuff, it's an additional charge on top of what you're ordering. So my favorite taco place in Portland that already has like a $4 taco. And I know that that's, it's astronomical to start, right? But then you add the fees and everything. So then a taco is like $4.50 a taco. So for me, when I want to have like a cute little DoorDash moment, you know, for myself, DoorDash shoulder moment, I'm paying like still $30. And I will say, because I think this is important for everyone to know, when a majority of the time, at least to me, it's better to order directly from a restaurant because they're getting that tip. Yeah. When you're tipping, I want to say when you're tipping, whether it's Uber or Grubhub, the tipping situation's what's a little weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Because for me, I want to make sure that,
sometimes it doesn't go to the driver.
Right.
Yeah, it's all a bit
Are you
weird.
tipping the driver and now you're also tipping the restaurant? I want the people at the restaurant to make that shmoney.
Right.
Because when I'm at a restaurant and I have to stop doing what I'm doing because the little tablet's ringing and you can't not touch it because you have guests that are like, hey, is there a fire alarm going off? Oh no, someone just is trying to DoorDash a fucking pizza. Seriously. So you got to stop doing what you're doing, you enter it in, and then it's just kind of like, I think it's a payout. Yeah. So a lot of local restaurants said it actually is really kind of goes against the grain for them to be able to do that. But it's how you stay relevant. Yeah. That's how places were able to stay open. So it's like...
There's a vegetarian Chinese place down the street, and they were going to Grubhub.
Fuck,
and,
they're so good. Are they gone now?
No, they're still there. But
thank God.
They were just like, I was like, do you do Grubhub? And I think they're doing it now, but for a while they were like, we don't really make any money doing it.
Because you're not making money. Yeah.
And
you're having to pay. I want to say you have to pay them. It's really weird how it works out with the restaurant.
Yeah. But I could see businesses also getting business because people are like, oh, dope, there's a veggie Chinese place.
Absolutely.
And they're like, damn, the food's really good. So it kind of sucks, but whatever. Yeah, I hate how like fast food places are like Burger King. They're always like so sassy with all their advertisements. You know what I mean? They're like, no lettuce, no problem. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Stop telling me that I can have it my way. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you can customize it. This is like the same thing with the... McDonald's had that, what was it, where you could like customize? What was it called?
Fucking mix and match.
Own mix and match, yeah.
It was the mix and match. Dear God, this is another one.
I made a TikTok about this and I was so mad because they were like, oh, you can get the land and sea and you can have a burger patty and a chicken sandwich and a fillet of fish. But the whole thing was you just ordered the shit and then put it together yourself. So like, they just were like, here's all 4 items. And then you're in your car fucking putting all this shit together. No, fuck you, McDonald's. You're a big company. What is so hard about programming in your system that you could go like, boop. And then it's like, okay, here's all the shit. And then your people just add the shit.
Make it correct.
Don't tell me that I can do it. I know I could do it.
That's basically just like how fast food works.
When I get a Big Mac and I take out the middle bun sometimes if I'm watching my carbs, which is weird at McDonald's. But you know what I mean? Like, I know what I can do.
Did you know that the Big Mac is the club sandwich of fast food?
Ew.
Yeah, because it's got the middle bread.
Oh.
Why do you need a fucking middle bread? The triple decker. I mean, that's the traditional club sandwich. It just
looks tall. And it's like... the Big Mac is basically a regular burger that's trying to get on a roller coaster ride and stuffed socks in its shoes so it can be taller. That's basically the equivalent of a Big Mac. It doesn't really deserve to be that tall.
I'm currently taking applications for other podcasts if anyone needs a co-host or...
Yeah. But yeah, I always get like the fast food companies are always like super sassy and it's like... I get it. Thanks. I can make it however I want. Well, I went to a Taco Bell once during the, this was probably 6 months ago, and they had some like crazy monster nachos, and they had the picture on the thing and the drive-through. And poor guy, they had to have a dude out there with a tablet putting in the orders. And I was like, I'll do the monster nachos. He's like, oh, we don't have that anymore. I'm like, but it's like right there. And he's like, yeah, we don't have it. I'm like, ugh, how do you not have it? There's commercials on TV.
You as in don't have it, or isn't it sold out? So I went through
She says,
Taco
like, we
Bell
don't have it.
recently,
And I was like,
and
ugh.
they had a fucking Mexican pizza sticker over the thing that said they were sold out.
yeah.
And I was like, did they send y'all that fucking decal to put
No.
up to make it look like it's sold out?
They were like, oh, sorry, we underestimated how much people wanted these. No, bitch. We wanted this Mexican pizza. Like, that's me and Greg's like favorite shit. I love it. I love the shell. The shell is great.
Yeah.
Everything about the
all
Mexican
great.
pizza
It's
is great.
expensive, as
And
everything
then
is
they were
expensive.
like, oh, we underestimated how much people wanted them. Like, okay. Granted, I love Taco Bell. I eat Taco Bell every day, every meal, if I could. I've worked at Taco Bell twice. I'll eat Taco Bell. I could find a finger in my Taco Bell and I'd still go back.
I don't know if we're going to keep this in the podcast, but I just saw something on social media when I opened my fucking phone earlier, and someone found a fucking frog in an ice cream container.
Oh, was it
Like frozen in the fucking cream, my dude. Like the frog was in the ice cream.
That sucks.
I thought it was like a cinnamon swirl, and it's a fucking like bleh.
Could you imagine if you were just like eating and you just scooped it out and you're like,
It was on the top. They took the lid off, and it was like the frog was like. Ugh. I mean, but you say, imagine eating that. Imagine being the fucking bitch who put a finger in her chili. That wasn't that fucking finger.
That person that found the finger in the chili, it was like
They're
it was like their friend or a relative's finger that like somehow. So they're like, and what I think is funny is,
bitch, ain't gonna fingerprint it and be like, this is Uncle Jerry. He lives 3 doors down from you.
just whenever you commit a crime, they always go like, okay, let's just check your friend area. It's like TikTok when, they're going to send it out to the initial friend group.
Mm-hmm.
So, you found a finger? Okay, let's just check all the fingers.
Yes.
Anybody you know.
Everyone, can we get a hand check?
Might have lost a finger in the last 6 months or something. And they're like, oh, I see. Like, that's wild. But I mean, like, that was national news.
Yeah, you fucking idiot.
Just kind of crazy. We did talk about this last time, and I know we're segueing a little bit, but we're sticking with fast food. We were talking about fast food advertising, and I love fast food. I also hate fast food because it makes me fat. But I am tired of these ads and commercials when the whole shit is not real food. Every commercial, at least in America, it is not real food. Like,
It's like cardboard.
like syrup is like motor oil.
Yikes.
Ice cream is what is ice? Oh, mashed potatoes. So when you look at like commercials and like pictures of food, it's not real food. And I think there should be a law against that. Legal people, somebody we needed, like, here's the thing. You shouldn't be able to go like, here's this great food item that is not food.
You're basically catfishing food.
Yeah.
You're food fishing.
We're catfishing catfish. Well, if there's any commercials for catfish, use real catfish for your commercials. But you know what I mean? Like, when you look at like a burger thing for a Whopper, it's not real. A Big Mac is not real. So you're selling me this tall ass shit.
I've seen it where they wedge cardboard in between each layer so the shit kind of sits like cheated towards
pancakes.
the camera.
Yeah. And I think just for, and you could have an asterisk. It was like, oh, this is blah, 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 whatever fucking,
asterisk. Your pancake syrup is fucking motor oil.
Yeah. But I think that it should be real food. I think you should have to have an accurate representation of the shit you're selling. Regardless, I know people will probably lose money or deliver the product that you're advertising to me.
Correct.
When you get a Carl's Jr. famous star, it does not look like
it does not. It looks like a it looks like a murder scene.
It gets put in the bag, it gets smushed a little.
It gets jostled.
But also, that's not it. Like, your ingredients and all the things are like, it's all not poofed up and not looking great. And I just think that we should not be able to do advertising where you're like, basically it's false advertising.
Correct.
Even if you could sit there and make a really good burger with the same ingredients and the bread and all that shit and make a really good burger out of real shit.
Correct.
And I get it. The lights are hot and it's been melt, but I don't care. Like, you shouldn't be able to cheat in your advertising.
Right.
So
yeah, of course.
That's just my point of view. Somebody
it's the same thing with
smarter than me, please. Can we try this?
Fast food sales go down 900%.
No, because we know what we're getting, but they want to be like, look at this fake ass
Don't
food.
tease me.
Well, we were talking about photo retouching and shit, and yes, you can do some photo retouching.
But you don't want to change everything.
If you bought a car and when you got it, it's like the Cybertruck. If all of a sudden you get the Cybertruck that Elon Musk is making, it doesn't look like that. It was completely different. You'd be like, yo, what the fuck? And they have a little disclaimer on there, whatever, I'm sure legal recourse, but like,
yikes.
If you buy, anything that's advertised to you and doesn't come looking the same way, how is that fair? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's my beef on beef.
God bless you. Well, we're in cancer season right now. So I got cut off by 3 different men in traffic, just ramped up, don't know how to contain their emotions. Cancer season coming hard. New moon today. People are just feeling emotional. It's Astrology Corner with Lex.
It's a weird time right now. Well, I think we're like majority of the country, but we had Roe v. Wade was overturned and kind of depressing. I know this is like a handful of people that are like, yay, take my rights away. This is great for me. But like,
well, I think it's a lot of people who feel like they're a part of something bigger, right?
Right.
And so Roe versus Wade was a case in 1973, and the girl wanted to remain anonymous. Her name was Jane Roe, versus Wade. And it was, a girl who felt that her decision to, have an abortion was her right.
Right.
And this originally happened. It was a case in Texas where, they had laws prohibiting, a woman's right to make a choice. Right. So in Texas, back when this case happened, you had to be able to have a medical reasoning as to why.
Right. I hate that there are these like exemptions,
these
where you have
stipulations.
to go like, your doctor has to go like, you'll die. Other than that, like you have to carry this baby to term. They're so gross.
Again, like I said, it's not like there's a fucking punch card. You don't just go in like a car wash and walk out the other side with no baby.
Right.
It is a huge decision that people are making in couples and families. It's not just this fucking thing that people are just waking up and being like, you know what? I don't want anymore. This baby. Let's just go get rid of it.
Well, and you could do everything right. You could use a condom. You could have an IUD. You could have all the things and those fail. And so then you're just like, well, sorry about it. You now have to carry this baby. I know that there's like these laws and, but like it's gotten so politicized and so religious that people are like, oh, you're killing a baby. It's like, who? No, I'm not. You know what I mean? It's cells. Your body is like starting to kind of change and kind of ramp everything up. And then you're like, no, thank you.
Correct.
Like, who cares?
I mean, girls catch it after their first period. You can't even do anything until you're at least 6 weeks, at least. Right. So it's just kind of this weird, uncomfortable situation. And when we were doing our research, doing our due diligence about Roe versus Wade, I think they said it was a Supreme Court ruling of 7-2. Wow. 7 motherfuckers were like, yup, we agree in a woman's right to just be able to make that decision. Right. We're just going to say, you know what? Here, we're going to give you the choice to decide what the fuck you want to do. And it just feels kind of icky.
Yeah. Well, and then, so basically the ruling, they pushed the decision back to individual states. So instead of it being federally regulated,
correct,
it is now up to the states to decide. The way I look at it is kind of like marijuana and how that's regulated. Most states are like, yay, marijuana is cool.
Yes.
But federally, it is still
a no-go.
A no.
Yes.
And so it's kind of like that where like federally now they're like, hey, we're not allowing this to be a federal decided thing. It has to go to the states. Now individual states have to regulate that. But what sucks is a lot of these states were kind of preparing for this.
Will you explain a little bit about what the trigger laws are? Because I didn't really know anything about it, and I think it's really important.
So the way that trigger laws work is they're basically laws put into effect that if Roe v. Wade was ever overturned,
correct,
those laws would immediately go in. And I think that
they kind of knew
I
that
think
was
they
going
kind
to
of
happen.
knew. I think there was probably maybe talks, or they just kind of like were like, yo, this could happen. The last 2 justices that were put in, you know, they said they weren't going to do anything with Roe v. Wade, but clearly
That meant nothing.
You know? So now a lot of states just have laws that immediately go into effect. Abortion clinics have to close. But I was reading or listening to NPR, and they were saying that a lot of these places, people weren't really getting abortions there anyway in these really heavily regulated states. So people were already kind of going elsewhere and doing things. So it's just weird. I think that if you don't want to get an abortion, don't get an abortion.
Correct.
If you don't want one, don't get one.
Mind your business.
Mind your own goddamn business. And it's just gross that we are now telling women what they can and can't do. I mean, it's very clear the point. I mean, if you just use like your regular brain, you would go, yes, everyone should have right to choose. But it's clearly not that, you know?
Well, the thing that's beyond me literally is where it's just the fucking start.
Yeah.
This is literally just the start.
Yep.
So when you were explaining the Supreme Court to me earlier, you know, and because I think it's important to learn. Don't just go out there and fucking talk shit and run your mouth.
Right.
I don't even care if you Google. I don't care if you're on Wikipedia. Like, spend 5 minutes of getting some kind of necessary information. And because so then that way, if you can hear people spreading misinformation, you can cut that shit.
Right.
It's the same thing about racism, anything like that. If I get a whiff of it, I'm shutting that shit down because we're to the point now, I don't have any fucking tolerance. I saw this video of an Uber driver that went viral, and this girl got in and she got in the car and she was like, oh, you speak English? And it was, you know, he was a white man, older man. And he was like, I'm sorry, what did you say? And she's like, oh, good. I'm just so happy you speak English, blah, blah, blah. And then the boyfriend got in, or whoever, you know.
Right.
And the guy just immediately was like, you guys can leave. I'm not taking this ride.
Yep.
And they were like, what? What are you talking about? He's like, I'm not taking this ride. Why would it matter to you if I spoke English or not?
Right.
I accepted to take your ride. I am now declining it. And I just was like,
right.
Snaps to you, man, because that's so powerful. And now look at all of the, to lean in more to what you said about visibility. Now you have fucking Uber drivers who are probably going to do that also. And Uber released a statement about how they were so proud of this guy and had his back because they were like, we don't stand for racism. So, you standing up for, someone who isn't even there to talk about themselves is so powerful. Yeah. And look how good that is.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just everything about the Supreme Court stuff is weird because then you think about gay marriage, you think about contraception, all these things. Now, and what I find most irritating about this is there wasn't even a case that was brought to them because the way the Supreme Court works is, you basically can kind of push your case up to the Supreme Court. So I think you go through different stages. I think however that works, but you can basically send it to the Supreme Court and they only do like 60 a year or something. It's not even that many.
Correct.
And they just revisited it for whatever reason. There was no reason, but clearly a reason. And that's kind of weird because they don't really do that. They don't go back and go like, hey, let's take a look at this old 60-year-old case.
Right. They're like, hey, let's take a look at this 60-year-old case. Because at that point, if you want to talk about landmark cases, think about Brown versus Board of Education. Are we talking about racially segregating schools again?
Well,
if you can just decide to...
Just the fact that you can go back and kind of undo the thing that's already been in place when a majority of Americans kind of don't want that. It's just weird. It's just a weird feeling because these people are supposed to be in the Supreme Court to decide whether things are constitutional or not.
Correct.
And then they have the power. So when they make a ruling, it supersedes everything.
Correct.
And that's kind of weird because we should be able to vote on that. That should go to a vote. It should go to a national vote or whatever. We should be voting on these laws. We shouldn't make a thing and then these, shitheads get to go, oh no, just kidding, boop. And they get to set the legal precedents for that. It's weird. They need term limits. Mm-hmm. We need to expand it so there's more people there. Term limits is ideal because I don't want to be ageist, but when you're that old, I get
you
that
can
you
be
have
ageist.
I get you have experience, But also, you shouldn't be able to make laws that get to hang around well after you're not going to be around, you know?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And we need younger people, term limits. You shouldn't be on the Supreme Court for 40 years.
Well, it's about inclusivity.
So I used to work for the USDA and help inspect grain here in Portland. And there was 3 elevators in Portland. And basically we're monitoring wheat and grain that gets put on big ships that go to, you know, Japan or South America or whatever. You could not work at an elevator more than 6 months.
Wow.
And they would rotate everybody. The reason why is you will develop a bias, whether you try to or not, if you work at one place longer enough. If you see the same people every day for weeks and weeks and months, eventually you will develop a bias. Because you get to know these people.
Of course, absolutely.
Oh, sure, let's let that go through.
Of course.
And so how can you be even like a senator that they get in these places for like 30 years?
Mm-hmm.
How do you not have bias? You have to. You have to have control and power, and you can make those decisions, and you have to have bias, and you really shouldn't be able to have any bias. You should be able to do your job for the people, represent
Correct.
your people. The other thing that I think we need to get rid of is lobbying. So lobbying, basically, I'm not exactly sure how legally it's okay. I think they voted on it and they were like, yes, lobbying is cool, but you can give money to people that make laws, senators.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean? And you're like, hi, we're the NRA. Here's some money, Ted Cruz. And then he's like, okay, thanks for the money.
And then
they're
strikes
like,
things. Yeah. And they're
wait,
like,
please don't say anything about guns.
seriously.
And then he's up there being like, guns aren't not the problem. It's the people with the fingers. You know what I mean? Like, and so
It's just all so sad.
how is that legally allowed?
At that point, you're no longer a civil servant.
You're
At
not
that point,
working,
you're not
for,
working
the
for the people.
And
yeah.
that's the big problem in America is you have all these companies, healthcare or insurance companies and motors, all these powerful people with money can push that money out in whatever legal way they can do it to get the things that they want. And I don't know like how it is a thing, but they voted. I remember
Someone
there was a vote.
lobbied. Someone lobbied for lobbying.
Yeah, there was a vote and they were like, can we accept money? And they were like, yeah. And they all were like, yeah, sure. Like clearly they're going to say yes. But I think that that's the biggest problem in America right now.
It's people being bought.
You're bought.
Yep. Absolutely.
And you can see where people get the money from, but we don't care.
Right.
And you shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to go like, hey, so-and-so, here's $1 million donated to your campaign. You're like, okay, cool, thanks. And
Wink, wink.
wink. Hey, can
Yeah.
we, you know what I mean? So
Yeah. When I was in high school, we went downtown to the Justice Department and we got to sit and talk with a couple judges that were there. And it was really cool being, of course, the astrology nerd that I am. When they talked about back in the day, now this isn't like the reason why there's 12 jurors, but this guy was alluding to the fact that back in the day before like court systems really existed, back before you really had any kind of like lawyers and things, they had a group of 12 people, one person from every zodiac sign.
oh,
And the reason why they said that was because now you're getting every single different mindset that could be out there.
Right.
You're now taking the whole collective mindset and you're saying, Aries, Taurus, Virgo, Cancer, Libra, Capricorn, Sagittarius. You're asking all of these people,
right.
is this person guilty beyond a reasonable doubt? And you'll have an Aries over there going, well, I probably would have started the fucking fire. Or you have the Virgo that would have been like, yeah, well, I probably would have killed him because he was being shitty. Like,
Right.
it's so important to have inclusivity,
Right.
whether it's, we're talking about pride or we're talking about having consent or we're talking about anything. It's so important to be asking who is not at this table.
Right.
So when you have the Supreme Court, do we have people of all races?
Right.
Do we have people of all ages?
Right.
Do we have people of different mindsets that are not just out to fucking play us
Just
all?
a lot of the political system, it's just white males.
Yeah.
And recently it's gotten better. We're getting women, people of color. Anytime there's like a black woman, it always feels like they're like, okay, we'll give you this one. It shouldn't be that mindset. We
Right.
should just have qualified people in these roles and people that represent us.
Right.
My big question to anybody listening, might be able to fill me in, is yes, our tax dollars are paying for our government, but could we as a people like all put money to lobby against, you know, these like the NRAs and stuff? Because like clearly they have the money, but what if like everybody decided like, hey, I'm going to chip in $5 into this just whatever fund, and then these people can go lobby for us to just have our basic rights.
Yeah, basically,
because
give us our
clearly
rights
it's
back.
not working. Our justice system is failing us.
All around.
You know?
Yeah.
And we're also going like, oh, this is what they wanted. Like, well, they also didn't have internet and Wi-Fi.
Right.
They were saying that in the ruling, they're like, well, this wasn't mentioned in the Constitution and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, neither was Wi-Fi, neither were cell phones, neither was, you know, cars, you know, all this stuff. Like,
part of me just wonders if we had a fucking time machine, right? You got one time jump.
right.
I'm jumping back to when they're signing that fucking Constitution. And I'm going to go, hey, Hancock, look on this is a smartwatch. We got these in fucking 5,000 years from now.
It doesn't
my
work
guy.
right now because there's no Wi-Fi back
Correct.
then. But
I'm not connecting to my cellular
yeah, but
device.
here's
However,
here's my emoji.
in all seriousness, do you think these rules you're making for us right now should be involved 1,000 years later?
Yeah.
I'm
Well-
making these rules for all of time. No, they'd be like, hey, no. As things evolve, you should give a shit. Maybe a little more.
We should be giving, well, I saw a really good Twitter or something. They were like, women were given the right to vote.
Yeah.
But they weren't given the right. Their right to vote was being withheld.
Correct.
So like when they're like, hey, gay marriage, you guys got gay marriage. No, we were not given gay marriage.
What's the word? Repressed? What's the word?
I think it's that.
Suppressed.
Repressed. Anyway, it's just weird that like we have to fight so hard for basic rights. It doesn't make sense. It is 2022. Like we are not supposed to be dealing with all this shit. It's like when they cloned a sheep 30 years ago and everyone freaked out. Who fucking cares now? You know? And then everyone's a goddamn scientist.
It's super. I mean, you know, and you get down to the people who are like standing outside of an abortion clinic yelling at you with a sign and telling you that what you are doing is, you know, murderous. And like sitting in an abortion clinic, the walls are not that thick.
Right.
And when you're sitting in one trying to fill out your paperwork and you're obviously not feeling your best self, to have someone yelling at you from outside that you're committing murder and that, you know, and it's just like, there was a rally and there were these women standing outside with signs that talked about how, you know, you should be utilizing adoption and adoption is the best choice and the number one choice. And the interview goes up to him and says, how many foster kids do you have? None. How many people in your family have kids that have adopted? None. All three of them. Not one had a foster kid or had adopted anyone or had shown any other kid that needed parents' love.
Right.
But they're out there fucking picketing because they think they know what's better for you. And that's at the end of the day, if you take away the act of abortion, and it comes down to a fundamental right.
Right.
Hey, Ryan, it's now illegal for you to get your infusions for your arthritis.
Right.
It's illegal.
Right.
You can go over to Washington and have someone give you infusions in a fucking alleyway and get you some, you know, drugs, and you can figure out how to administer that shit yourself.
Right.
Blasphemous.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day, we will still prevail when it comes to this, because whether it's women or like the human race in general, there's good people out there.
Right. There's a lot of ways to still make it accessible. I know a lot of companies will send pills. And I think Biden is working on a way that they can't block them from mailing stuff.
Well, it's the same with birth control. You used to not be able to order birth control through the mail, and now they're like, hi, how difficult am I fucking making this for you? What I learned recently was, you know, I work with a woman who's pregnant, and we were kind of talking about, you know, having pregnancy and a C-section.
Right.
And she said for a C-section without insurance, she said, if I didn't have insurance, like a majority of Americans who don't. If you're a server or bartender and you work in the restaurant industry, more than likely you're paying for insurance yourself, and a lot of people just don't have it.
Yeah.
If you don't have good insurance, a baby, a C-section, now tell me if I'm wrong, please. But a woman at work told me that it cost $20,000. You have a baby. If you got a C-section and you had no insurance, you'd be getting a bill for about $20,000 to $25,000. $20,000 to $25,000. With insurance, she said with a C-section, she'll pay about
$500,000.
$5,000.
$5,000?
$5,000 to have a baby, my dude.
Oh my God.
So imagine like the financial situation. Not that, having a baby is expensive, but having a baby is expensive if you don't have insurance.
So one other thing too I wanted to bring up. My brother and I, we used to do like our Sunday schools and like night class or whatever it was. And right around when they had the assisted suicide stuff, that was a big deal. They gave us these pamphlets and had us go door to door to tell people that killing yourself was bad. And at the time,
What year do you think this was?
Oh man, we
90?
were probably like 10, 12.
So it would have been like,
It was right around the time that they passed this
would have been like
assisted
2000
suicide thing in Oregon.
Yeah, it would have been around.
And so they somehow explained it to us where we were like, yeah, we'll go door to door. And so for like afternoons, Kevin and I would go knock on people's doors and try to explain to them that the assisted suicide thing was bad. Yeah, it's a thing. We did it. It's just like when schools have that little assembly and they're like, it's magazine selling time. You can have a pizza party. Do you remember that shit?
Yes.
When they basically, these magazine companies made you and they're like, here, you can have pizza day if you sell it was mind blowing that you can just have these children go around selling magazines because, you might get a pizza party or whatever.
Or the chocolate bars.
Oh, chocolate bars.
Chocolate bars?
Oh my God.
Hey, I have a marketing idea. Let's give children candy, and when they eat it, we're going to make their fucking parents pay us for it. You know how many of those C's candy bars a bitch ate? Dad was paying for all of that because I ate every single caramel bar because they were so good.
It's like Girl Scout cookies.
You owe $57 to the school now, Dad. Sorry.
I just remember that, like, I just don't get it. Like, we're making kids go out and like pulling our heartstrings, and selling us magazines so these companies can make money. It's kind of gross. Mm-hmm. Somehow you get around child labor laws if they're just like, hey, we're not asking kids or making them do it, but if they want this fucking pizza party, like, I just think it's weird. But now looking back, I can't believe that we were kind of like tricked into going and knocking on people's houses and be like, don't vote for people so they can't kill themselves because God will say no. Like, that's wild and very embarrassed. My little supple 12-year-old self, or whatever age we're going around telling people that, hey, if you ever got to a point where you basically want to kill yourself because of whatever, don't do it. Like, it's just weird. So yeah, everyone can get tricked into doing things.
Totally natural segue.
Totally natural segue. Yeah. I know it's tough and everybody has opinions and you may be listening to this and completely disagree. And that's fine. If you want to disagree, that's totally fine. Everybody is allowed to have the opinion that they want. Mm-hmm. But I also think that if you go off of science and you go off of facts, that's it. I'm not going to explain it, but like, you know what I mean? Like, you can clearly see that this. I'm not going to go into it, but yeah.
Well, this being pdExes, I do have a couple sleeper stories.
Yeah.
A friend of a friend. So I get this follow request on Instagram, and I see that we have like 9 or 10 mutual friends who are all really close friends of mine from when I dated a guy, and they was this very small group of skate kids. And I was like, there, you're checking off all the boxes. I mean, we're getting down the layer, 12 deep of all of my friends. How do I not know you? Where the fuck have you been? And that was literally something that he had said when we started messaging back and forth, and we're kind of DMing, and it was cute to have like this moment where I'd like look at my phone and just like, ooh, cute messages. So we kind of went back and forth, and it's during the pandemic, so this kind of felt weird, and it's like, you can't really go on a date. And I just remember him telling me, like, I just want to be able to hang out with you and like roll a blunt and smoke and like go on a walk. And I'm like, oh, so cute. Like, a minimal effort is like so appealing to me. And I think the mistake was just inviting him like over, like because there was no other place for us to go to. Right. Actually, we were going to meet at a park, but this was when we had all of the fires. So the Columbia River Gorge caught on fire and was probably one of the worst experiences I've had being alive in Portland. Like,
it was insane.
Our entire gorge was on fire. We have the historic Multnomah Falls, and there's a lodge. And I used to work at this tiny little restaurant that was on the historic highway that takes you out to the gorge, not on the big highway. And during all the fires, Home Slice, when we smelled him when he walked in the door because he stunk like campfire so bad. And he comes back and he sits at the bar, and we were basically closed. And he knew us, so obviously we're going to let him in. And we were just talking to him, and he talked about how he had to cut all the photos off of the wall that have been mounted there for years because they thought they were going to lose the lodge. Right. And he's all stinky, and he just is like, my truck is packed, and I don't know if I'll ever go back. And, you know, thankfully we made it through all of that. God bless all of the firefighters and wildlife forces that helped with that, because that was a rough, it was like a month.
It was, I think it was like a whole month. Like, it was insane.
Northern California caught on fire. And that was actually when I went to get this tattoo. And that's why we ended up keeping the trees in the bottom because everything was on fire and California was on fire and Portland was on fire. So it just kind of was melding into this haze of not being able to breathe.
Yeah. The sky was like orange.
Yeah.
It was wild. Like Brian and I at my old apartment, we had bags packed just in case. Yeah. Because like it was close-ish.
It was bad.
I mean, like
miles from town.
And it doesn't take much because people are like, I don't understand how everything burned. And like when there's a fire, you've been at a campfire, ash and stuff, embers fly into the sky, and if there's wind, that just gets blown away.
So basically the embers at the top of the tree layer were getting blown miles and miles away across the Columbia River to Washington. Washington had started to catch on fire because embers were flying so far. So very bad time for a first date.
Yeah.
And then so I invited him over, and it was like we were kind of going to go, like, you know, maybe smoke a joint and walk. But really, I, to be honest, didn't want my hair to smell like smoke. Right. And it was really gross outside, and you couldn't really breathe. And everything seemed so genuine and nice and exciting. And it was like you got all those cute feelings like, ooh, somebody likes me. Somebody wants to hang out with me. And invited him over. And, you know, the first date was cute. We hung out. We talked a lot about stuff. And it just was like, I mean, if I could impart anything, listen to your fucking gut. Yeah. Listen to that little voice telling you something's not so great, because the most unattractive thing anyone has probably ever told me was when this guy was talking about wanting to get tattooed, and he had 2 tattoos on the back of his calves the year that he was born. I'll give you one shitty tattoo. You get one shitty tattoo, right? I'll give you one. Everyone makes mistakes when they're younger. And he was talking about going and flying to Vegas and he's going to have 2 people drill his leg at the same time. And he said he's going to do a full leg sleeve. And he's talking to me, who has beautiful tattoos. Right. I really pride myself. It's not like I have a random flash piece on my side or anything. Right. Like, it's a passion of mine. I take this shit really seriously. So to have this kid look me in my face and tell me that he was going to get his leg drilled by 2 different artists, and one was going to do knee down and the other was going to do thigh down, and then they were going to switch halfway through. So it was like the same style. Now I get that we've kind of made like a vision of this on tattoo shows where people do like collaborations like that. Yeah. And he wanted to fly down and do it in a weekend and fly back. And I was like, you fucking idiot. You're going to anyways, idiot. Should have known.
Well, I mean, first of all, a tattoo is an open wound, and tattooing your entire leg, it's like a burn. So if you just burned your entire leg, your body is not going to enjoy that.
And it's not going to be okay on a flight home.
And I've gotten tons of my arm work done before, but it's been in different splotches. But like, that's rough. And an airplane is rough. Airport is rough. Not touching it on anything is rough.
Gross.
Like, so I get that you're like, oh, I'm going to go and get my whole leg blasted. But like at the end of the day, like, man.
And part of me thinks he was telling me this because like he wanted to impress me. And in my head, I just was like, this is an absolute fucking travesty.
This is when he was over at your house?
Yes. Still slept with him after.
Yeah.
You got the tattoo strike. I'm like, okay, you might not really do that. And I'm kind of hoping you're just kidding about it because maybe you're just trying to like tell me because I'm like, oh my God, he likes tattoos
I'm
too.
so wet. You told me you were going to get your
You're making your own lube for me.
Yeah, thank you.
You know, but I mean, it was cute and we made out and things. It was a cute little moment.
Right.
And, you know, just especially during the pandemic, if you don't have people to hang out with. I live by myself, so I'm literally by myself.
Right.
And then it was like I sent him off the next day. It was super cute. And then we're texting. And then a couple days go by. We're supposed to hang out again. And he had to cancel. And he was like, hey, he did construction. He's like, hey, I have to work because my team can't work in the smoke. Like, we're not working. Can we reschedule? I'm like, sure, of course. So then the next day, he's like, hey, can you want to reschedule for today? And I was like, yeah. And he's like, I'm going to make it up to you. And I'm like thinking in my head, oh, cute. He's going to buy me flowers. Am I going to get like dinner or whatever? And he said, I'm going to make it up to you. How about I stay with you Monday through Friday this week?
Oh, I mean, that's not really making it up to me.
The fuck? Are you paying me a quarter of my rent to stay with me for a fucking week? So then I literally wrote back and was like, how about we just try tonight and see how that goes before you invite yourself over for a week?
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, of course, like winky face or whatever. And I waited an incredibly long time for him to come over. Here's the thing. If you're going to cancel with someone or if you don't want to hang out with someone, tell them as soon as you feel that way. Yeah. I give that I give that warning to all of my friends because if you don't want to do something, I would rather you tell me when you wake up that morning, hey, we can't go shopping. I can't, blah, blah, blah. Right. We're not going to dinner. Then you cancel on me an hour before. Yeah. Or you show up and waste my goddamn time.
We had somebody that we were going to hang out with, two guys, and they were a couple. And like, I think an hour before, they were like, hey, I'm not feeling well. And we were just like, fuck, man.
Right. Did you just start feeling unwell an hour before? No, you probably didn't want to go all day. So
and I get that people get sick and not feeling well, but like give me like we went out and bought like shit to make a meatloaf. Correct. Or we were like and we cleaned all day and like we just went and got beers expecting to, you know, hang out. And then like an hour before we were just like, really, like, come on, man.
Just value someone's time.
Just seriously. Give us a little like, hey, I'm not feeling great. You know, I get that you can get food poisoning and just all of a sudden be not feeling well. But also, like, just let somebody know ahead of time or don't lie. You know what I mean?
Or
just be like, hey,
lie more convincing.
We just had a fight and we don't want to come. Whatever.
Correct. Give me anything. But the more time you can give someone by way of, you know, canceling or rearranging plans, I think we kind of live in a generation now where that's okay.
Right.
You know, everyone has a cell phone. It's not like you're like, oh, I couldn't get a hold of you because you don't have a home phone.
Well, I can tell you how many times that I've like douched my asshole and gotten everything cute. And then they're like, oh, hey, sorry, you can't hang. And I'm like, so I'm just sitting here with a really squeaky clean asshole for no goddamn reason.
I'm just going to go dirty it up later.
Like, God damn it.
Yeah. So I waited an incredibly fucking long time for him to show up. And there was staying late at work or whatever. And then the funny thing about all of this is, again, a Virgo, a bitch has got fucking receipts, all right? So I have a text that showed when he said, I'm here.
Right.
Walk outside. He comes up, super cute. We hang out. We're talking. And I want to say that I think this was the day that we talked about the tattoo because it was all a matter of fucking minutes. And we're hanging out. We're watching TV. I put something on the TV and then and we're sitting on two separate couches. I have two separate couches. And the first date I had invited him to come sit next to me because he gave me space. He sat over there. It was cute, you know, just meeting and like wanting to talk and stuff. You know, a date is a date.
Right.
It is not a sleepover.
Right.
The assumption is not that I'm 1,000% staying the night with you. It's I'm going to see how this goes. And if it feels good, we'll kind of maybe like, you know, shoulder mom.
It's different when it's a pandemic and there's fires and you can't go out and meet somebody in a, you know,
normal way.
Like kind of neutral area. Now you have to bring a guy over to your house.
Right. I don't know how you treat a server. I don't know.
Automatically is kind of weird anyway because like now you're in the house and then you have to be like, all right, gonna go to bed. And he's like, okay, bye. You know what I mean? Like it just, it's hard to
you have to be able to pick up on those social cues. Yeah. So there was a text from him. Hey, I'm here. He comes in. We're talking. We're chatting. We watch TV. He kicks his shoes off. I'm sorry. Hold the fuck on. I have like blocked this shit out for so long. I'm getting like smacked in the face with these fucking details. Second date, this motherfucker showed up to my house in a white tee, basketball shorts, fucking socks, and slides. And I was like,
That's...
You a little too comfy. I would have had more respect for you if you showed up in a button-up and slacks. Why? Because we're on a date, right? Don't you show up in fucking comfies, comfy cozies? We're not even on a comfy cozy status, you fucking asshole. So for me, I work in luxury fashion. The smallest amount of effort, trust me, dudes, the smallest amount of effort goes miles.
Yeah.
Goes miles. Like I was at a fucking bar last night. Home slice got up, stirred up, turned around, covered in dog hair. And I was like, ooh, you ain't getting no phone numbers tonight, my dude, except for a good dry cleaner. Because that was embarrassing. I wanted to pull the lint roller out of my fucking... You think you would have turned around?
We just got a dog. We have another dog. We just got a cat. And I have a very, very mini lint roller.
You have one right there. Right off screen.
And plus the hat. Like, I'm always wearing a black hat.
You got to keep it fresh.
So, especially at work, I got one in my bag and I'm always doing it. Everyone always like, oh, you got the lint roller? I'm like, yeah, I mean... I'm not trying to have dog hair or cat hair all over me.
It's just little details. Nothing wrong with grabbing your coat, going to the bank, it's covered in dog hair. No big fucking deal, right? But when you're going to meet someone and you're late and you had to go home first to see me, like, I understand that you want to be comfy cozy, but put in a little fucking effort. So
wait, okay, so we'll just recap. So
great, love a Ryan recap.
So met the guy online. Apparently have a ton of friends in common. So that's kind of cool, I guess. And then first date, came over, hung out at the place. And now we're on date 2. He comes over looking like he just
he fucking belongs.
Run into the 7-Eleven down the street real quick to grab a Snicker bar.
Correct.
Now he's at the house.
And he kicked his fucking shoes up and put his
feet
up.
His slides. He went like this. You know how you go poop and you pop the slide up and you go poop and you pop the other slide up?
He heel-toed his motherfucking slides off. He went boop, beep, boop. And he kicked his feet up on my love seat and he sat there and he fucking fell asleep.
So you're on one seat. He's over here.
Not that far. Like
like this.
If you lean back and our hands would touch, we're close. It's a very cute, intimate cute little living room, right? And I can hear him snoring. And I turn and look. And at first I'm like, oh, okay. He works really hard. Right. And it's like this devil and angel, right? But as a Virgo, I have like a devil and like a even more asshole devil. Yeah, so there's like two meanies.
Devil, and then on his shoulder, a mini devil.
A mini devil. There are no angels involved at all with a Virgo.
Man.
And I just was like, oh, he's working. I just want him to be comfy. He's at my house. And then like 90 fucking seconds went by and I was like, wait a minute. I gotta fucking babysit this dude all night? You got me fucked up.
Our dad used to, still, I would say used to, but you'd go to a movie and he would fall asleep like 10 minutes in and you had to be on like elbow duty all night.
No one wanted to sit next to dad because it was the fucking
you were
worst
just like,
trying to
wake
him up.
And you'd be like, oh.
And it's loud, head back, mouth open snoring that our dad would do.
And then you get out of the theater and be like, it was great. And you're like, bitch, you were asleep the whole time.
We used to always tease him, and our mom coined this joke. It's the most expensive nap that our dad's going to take. Because he's paying money to go in this loud movie theater where no one's supposed to be talking to him, and he just passes out. Again, I touched on this a couple episodes ago. I now understand that there are connections that I have with people where I'm making them feel at peace and I'm making them feel comfortable and safe, and I'm really making their inner child just feel so comfortable. Not on a fucking second date, bitch. Yeah. Not on a second date.
Yeah, that's weird. You would, and then you're just like, it's not even like you're talking or hanging out. And you fall asleep on somebody.
That's the point. That's what's so upsetting is I invite you into my space because I want to get to know you. My space is private. A girl is inviting you into her apartment, not necessarily to bone.
Right.
That's what And that's what he showed me. And all of this happened in a matter of minutes.
Wow. That's crazy.
It's just also traumatizing living this. I never really thought about having a podcast talking about ex stories. I'm like reliving the trauma.
Yeah, but also,
it's really fucking upsetting. And I'm in this moment where I'm like, literally, this person doesn't give a fucking shit about me.
Right.
And this motherfucker just texted me and was like, I'll make it up to you. Right. I'll stay with you Monday through Friday this week and then leave to go to work and then come crash on your fucking couch. I was fucking pissed.
Yeah.
And really uncomfortable. And in that moment, it kind of went, I could be nice and be a pushover and just go to bed and figure that shit out. I wanted him out. I want you the fuck out of my apartment.
Yeah. Your trial run has ended.
Yes. Your subscription will not be renewed. You're honestly, it was a block and fucking delete moment, to be honest. I want to say I probably blocked him as he was fucking asleep. And I was like, okay, let me just figure this out. And I looked over at him and I just was like, this makes me really upset. And he kind of woke up a little bit and I looked at him and he just was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm tired. And I was like, do you have someplace you can stay? Because you're not staying here. And he kind of starts to sit up and looks at me. And I looked at him dead in the face and I said, I'm a girl you're trying to date, not some bro.
Right.
And I looked at him and I was like, am I just some girl in the city and you just want to crash at my fucking apartment Monday through Friday, and then you go to work and you just have some like, oh my God, like some cute little girl in the city. Just like, I can just go like stay at this girl's house.
Right.
And
That's
just
what it
make
feels
it to
like,
work because I'm driving from out of town. So it's going to cut my traffic and, my drive time in half. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Fuck you. All of this happened in about 60 seconds. There was no real exchange. He basically slipped his slides on, grabbed his bag and left.
Dang.
And I had texted him immediately because I kind of felt like maybe I overreacted in that moment because I basically did yell at him and told him to get the fuck out of my house because I said, I'm going to bed. And he goes, oh, I'm so tired. Like, let's go to bed. And I said, I'm going to bed. If you're here, you're staying on this couch. You're not coming to bed with me. You came over to have a date with me.
Right.
You came over to talk and get to know me. You're a little too comfy, cozy, snuggly.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to be crazy and just kick that motherfucker out in the beginning when he showed up in fucking slides and basketball shorts for a fucking quote unquote date. Am I at fault because I invited him to my place?
Yeah, I mean, it's during the pandemic. So, I mean, I think, I think he probably just level jumped to that comfy, we've been dating for 6 months when like.
That Monday through Friday.
We need to progress to that.
Correct.
And there's nowhere we can go to smoke. You can't have a mutual date anywhere. Right. And so he just
we couldn't even go for a walk. We couldn't even do anything.
And it's pretty clear that he just wanted to have a little peace in the city.
It was very clear that he wanted a little peace in the city because the story's not motherfucking over yet, bitch. If the viewers and listeners know anything about pdExes, is that Alexa's story always has something fucked up involved.
Right.
So a mutual friend had like commented on something of mine, and I hadn't talked to any of these guys for a super long time because they were all besties with the guy I dated for 6 years. And after we split up, I gave him all of his friends. I didn't want to try and they're my friends too. I was like, it's your friend group. Keep your dudes. Even though a bunch of them were still in my DMs trying to hang out with me, but that's beside the point. And so one of them commented on a photo of me or whatever, and I reached out to him and I was like, hey, your friend's a dick.
Right.
Came over, we hung out, fell asleep on my couch. And he goes, oh, yeah, well, he's married with 3 kids. So he does work hard.
Damn, the other slide just dropped.
Can you just let me have a fucking moment ever? Can I ever get a moment ever, bitch? He's always got to come in with something fucking funny. I'm like, I'm getting two-timed. And Ryan's like, and the other slide drops. Fucking, that's almost more insulting. His outfit was almost more insulting than the fact he was fucking two-timing
so funny.
me.
I didn't know he was wearing that outfit until today.
I didn't even remember until I got the war flashback because I was going to say he put his shoes on, but motherfucker wasn't wearing shoes because I was so appalled.
So.
And I'm getting like dick pics of him at his house. Where are your motherfucking kids at? I'm not seeing your play school toys in the bathtub. In that fucking black bathroom, the teal bathroom with the stripes on the wall.
So that would make sense that he's just
needs a place to stay. Let me make it up to you.
Hey,
Monday
can I
through Friday. SZA has a song about that, except for it's reversed.
Oh man.
You the 9 to 5, I'm the weekend.
Yeah. He's just like, I want to stay not with my family.
Right. I want to cut my hour-long drive to the city
and just
pretty much make it non-existent. You live 5 minutes from my work.
Well, and like
How
also
disrespectful.
you're in a relationship.
You're married.
You're
well,
married.
or you have you
Or whatever
Or you live with your baby mama.
Right.
I know she doesn't want anything to do with me, and I know for fucking sure I want nothing to do with her.
Yeah, and the kids thing isn't a big deal, but like if you're just like
you're at home taking dick pics in a house that you are raising your children, sending them to other women, that's a no from me, dog.
Yeah.
That is a no from me, dog.
Yeah, that's crazy. Did you ever reach out to him? Did you ever have any more communication after that? Or was that
when I found out that he had a wife and kids,
right.
I texted him immediately. Oh, I'm Virgo, double Virgo. Texted him immediately. And I just was like, I just want you to know that I know about your wife and I know about your kids. And I want you to know that you should be very fucking careful with who you mess with. Because I'm friends with all of your friends.
That's true.
And I wrote him and I said, don't fuck with me ever again. And that was it. I never heard from him again.
Dang.
It's got to be just a little bit threatening because, like, don't fuck with me. I'm on a real level, don't fuck with me.
That's kind of crazy. I mean, yeah, you had it all.
No, it was terrible. Oh,
I just meant
so
for him.
terrible.
Yeah.
No, he definitely did have it all.
He just got a little too comfy coming over. And then that's all that, like, I want to make it up to you and all this shit. Like, no, bitch. Like those first, I don't even know how many dates, 5 dates at least. You need to be on your best game because
best behavior, best behavior.
Just
as a dude,
you should be looking as cute as you can. Effort, get some. You don't have to go out and buy new clothes. You don't have to do anything. Just make sure your clothes look washed and cute.
Yeah, don't wear a wrinkly shirt.
Take a shower, do the hair, make sure you look good. Pick a nice, cute place you think you'll both like, or Taco Bell. You know what I mean? But like when those first couple interactions, like I said before, is you're trying to show this person who you are and your mind and like what you have to offer. You want to have good conversation. This is what I'm about. Do you want more of it? And you want that other person to go like, damn, I really like this person. I like the conversation. And both people should be feeling that. But you just got to come with it the first couple times. Like you passing out. I get that you're tired, but at the same time.
Or you know what? How that situation could have changed was had he woken up and said, hey, I'm really tired. I am so sorry that I'm kind of overstepping this boundary right now. I have a friend's house I can go crash at. I feel so bad that I'm not able to give you attention on a date.
Right.
I've already rescheduled with you a couple times. And that's what's so important and what I'm learning in, currently actively having a, healthy dating life. Communication is so important. Yeah. If you want to have a night to yourself or you need to go do that thing by yourself or you're feeling some type of way, like, you don't have to flame somebody. You can just have a nice conversation. And I'm learning that.
Yeah.
I'm learning that. It's hard. I didn't know you just went from fucking 0 to 10.
Yeah.
You got to go to fucking 2. And then sometimes from 2, you go back to 1. I didn't know that. I didn't know it.
Basically, it's like a steam release valve.
Yes.
So when, steam levels rising, you go like, oh, hey, can I talk to you about something? You go, psst, and let the steam out.
Correct.
Then if you don't ever let the steam out, then you basically, it's going to burn your face off because it's just going to pop your radiator. That's a car reference.
Vroom, vroom.
Yeah. But like, that's the thing. Communication is key. Like, it's better to have these conversations and to let stuff build up. And like I said, you don't have to bring up stuff every time.
Right.
But just, if you're noticing a trend or something's bothering you, let a person know because the person that you're with shouldn't want to upset you.
Right.
They should want to make you happy. They should want to make you feel great. And if you're feeling a type of way, best to just bring it up. And then both parties know.
Or if you're on a date, you can ask someone to leave at any fucking time.
Oh, yeah. Greg has literally left. He's like met up with people and hung out with them for 5 minutes and be like, I'm not feeling it. Goodbye. And I'm like, what? And he's like, yeah, I just tell them I'm not feeling it. And then I just left. And I'm like, I would never. I have hung out with people sometimes. And in my internal monologue, I'm just like, what the fuck am I going to do? I have a cool story. I'm going to bring this up maybe next episode of a date. I want to say a date. I think I went to hang out with a guy. I'll bring it up maybe next week.
Okay, don't give away the deets.
I'm not going to tell you much about it, but I forgot about it. And I think this would be a very nice kind of first dive in. I need to get into more of my stories. A bitch over here is getting all the action.
You or me? Who's the bitch here?
Me. No, I'm just kidding.
You have the right to tell someone to leave. Your space and your environment are super important. Yeah. You also have the opportunity to leave yourself.
Right.
In my house, you're going to be the one who fucking leaves. This is my space. This is my energy. I could have allowed him to stay. It could have made me really uncomfortable. In that moment, it was very empowering for me to say, hi, do you have someplace you can stay? Because you're not fucking staying here.
Yep.
So feel empowered in making your own decision. And, you know, listen to that little voice in your head, because dating has only been better for me since I started listening to that little voice in my head, because that's the real motherfucker right there. That's the real motherfucker. Not the anxiety voice that's like this. Yeah. That's like, everyone hates you. Listen to that little voice in here that's like, is he telling me that he's going to fly to Las Vegas and have 2 different people tattoo him in 2 different days, and then they're going to do a little flip-flop? And like, ooh, you're giving me a lady boner talking about you.
I just want to know, like, people have the stupidest pickup lines, but like, I just want to know who that's working on. Nobody. You know what I mean? Where a girl's like, oh God.
Maybe a girl who has 0 tattoos. Maybe a girl who's got 0.
I'm like, get out of here.
Someone who's heavily tattooed is like, you're a fucking idiot. It's taken me a long time to collect all of these.
Right. Well, we talked about a lot today. Mm-hmm. We talked about Supreme Court. Mm-hmm. It's kind of boring, but necessary. Mm-hmm. We talked about food again. I love it though.
I know.
And we also talked about Sir Sleeps a lot.
The Sleepy Skateboarder.
Sleepy Skateboarder, yes.
Fuck him, loser.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to ollie yourself right out of this house. You're going to double kickflip out of this relationship.
All of my skateboarder friends are losing their mind right now.
You're going to kickflip.
Right on out of here. Yeah. You're going to grind the rail down my stairs back into your car, you fucking loser. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. All right, guys. I'll see you next week.
Okay, bye.
Oh, do you have to clap?
Oh, yes. Ooh.
That was a good one.